Everyone.
It's Marcus and Steve again from Food Profits, and one of the things that we get asked an awful lot, quite a few emails coming into us, certainly a lot more recently, is food businesses, how can they market themselves these days? And it's something that's quite dear to your heart, Steve, isn't it?
Yeah, massively.
What sort of things do you do at the moment then here?
They do local newspapers, flyers, leaflets. They just recently heard about Gumtree. But then that sort of leads them into a bit of a cul-de-sac. They don't know where to go from that, so they sort of wonder how can they promote their business even more, really.
Right, so for probably a lot of people that are watching this video as well, very what I would call traditional methods, the newspapers, things like that, flyers, Yell.com, dare I say it as well, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is all that you see most food businesses still doing that type of thing these days?
Yeah, and they're turning over pretty well, but there's still room for people to come in.
Yes.
So how would a business say, try and get people in on that night or something like that? Because by the time you put it in the paper, a week's gone, special offers are gone. Is there a more instantaneous way of getting people through the door quicker?
Right, that's a great question. I'll ask you a question before I start to answer that. But let's suppose on a restaurant that you work, a bit like where we are here today, that how many covers, how many people would you get through the restaurant, let's say in a week, an average week, how many?
It's probably 200-300 possibly, which is fairly good. It's fairly good, but there's still little pockets or lulls or troughs where they can actually just pick it up a little bit and bring maybe 100 people in a week, maybe, possibly.
Right, so my next question to you then would be, so you're getting 200-300 people in a week that come into your restaurant, and my question is going to be then, do you know who those 200 or 300 people are?
Frankly, I would say no, because they're faceless people. The restaurant staff would know them, Craig knows them quite well through the tickets, but that's maybe 5-10 a week, they're regulars that come in. We don't know who the rest, 90% are, I'd say.
Right, it's quite interesting what just Steve said, that's probably applicable to about 97% of all the food businesses out there. It's no different what you're asking me about, and the reason I asked you those couple of questions is because lots of food businesses get customers in on a regular basis, but they really have no recollection really of who they are other than a conversation when people come in. Like, so your waiting staff and people, particularly where we are here today, would know them, but they don't know who they are. And so 2 or 3 things that I'm going to suggest to everybody out there watching this is you need to capture people's details these days. So let's suppose that you have their mobile telephone number, or let's suppose that you have their email address. Let's suppose that the guys where we are today were really quiet. What you could then do is you could send them a little text message, you could send them an email today about some great offer you've got on tonight. You've got their details, and all of a sudden some people will take up that offer.
So for instance, say Craig, you've done something special that day, a nice special vegetarian meal, where vegetarian meals are quite hard to find these days, good quality ones.
Yeah.
Could we get that out there?
Yes, you could. And the key for you and for everybody else looking at this little video is get people's email addresses ideally, and mobile telephone number, and we'll talk about this another day, if they've got a Twitter account, you can get their Twitter account. You can actually do lots and lots to market them, and here's the best bit you're going to love. It's incredibly cheap. In fact, most of the time it costs you nothing apart from an email.
That sounds awesome.
Good idea.